Moving on to the next question here from somebody who sells employee benefits packages. My job is to reach out to HR directors and CFOs, but I have a hard time getting past the receptionist or executive assistant. I occasionally get warm introductions from CPAs or business consultants, or those decision makers take my call immediately. Have you found, or is there a good way to actually get past gatekeepers without being manipulative, or is the entire cold outreach approach fundamentally flawed?
This person said, "Oh, when I get referrals from CPAs and whatever, uh, it's an easy call." Is that what they said? Okay, so then I'd go, okay, how can I get all the business? How can I get all the business I need? Easy calls coming in. Maybe even say from these targets, and then I just get a list of all those targets, start calling them up, and go, hey, you know what? Here's who I am. Da 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 da. When this comes up, you might not need me today, might not need me tomorrow, but when it comes up, I'm a good resource to have.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing. And I'd call. That's all I'd do. I'd pound on those. Those are my cold calls. I'm not calling trying to get past the gatekeeper of the wherever the company that's 50 to 200 employees, because everybody, you know how many people are trying to get past the gatekeeper today? That poor little gatekeeper, is just trying to fend off, and the person behind the gates going, don't let anybody in here, and you're trying to get in there. It's like it's it's a it's a silly fight.
Yeah.
It's like a ridiculous thing to even spend your time doing. It's like it sucks, it's painful, it's low result, and then you get in, they go, how'd you ever get in here? I told, that gatekeeper to never let anybody. Now they want to talk to you. And now you've got to figure out how to unfreeze that deal. It's like, no, no, no. But when they call you because their accountant said, hey, you know what? You could probably find some better benefits elsewhere. And they call you, there's no gate. You're the gatekeeper. Now you've got your own gatekeeper. Go, well, only if you show up with cash will I accept your call. But I mean, obviously I'm
Mhm.
kidding, but now you turn the tables. So, and that's what you do. It's funny that you brought up this, back before I understood this massive recommender network. Uh, I got my insurance license, and I went around selling benefits like an Aflac thing before Aflac. I don't know if I'd never heard of Aflac, but it was some other insurance company. And this guy that I knew or I met, he's probably not no longer living, but this is a long time ago, and he was old then, and it was kind of pretty much retired, and he was making recurring income from these premiums.
Mhm.
And so he was like, and back then it was like, he goes, yeah, I make, 7,000 from this one, 8,000 from that one. It's like, you make $15,000 a month on premiums, and you haven't done this for years. Like, yeah, I'm interested in doing that. And, and, and so, and again, I didn't know, I hadn't dreamt up, I hadn't started asking better questions about getting business. So how we did it, and he had this massive, back when they made really big, I mean, they still make big cars, but this is like um, I don't know, like a Lincoln Continental or something, a big car, and it had what do they call them, Landau roofs, where they're
Mhm.
squishy roofs on the outside, squishy roofs, and it was a big yellow car with a white roof, and we looked like pimps, and rolling down the road, and so he goes, look, don't, I'm going to show you how to do this. And by the way, I still have recordings, video of me practicing my pitch, and somewhere in the basement in a box uh, that I have videos of me doing this back when I was however old. Um, which is a good, it's a different point about recording yourself, so you know how you sound.
Mhm.
You know how crappy, silly, and stupid you sound on your voicemail. Well, you sound really bad when you're doing a presentation. But anyway, so he goes, yeah, we're not going to waste our time doing that because get anywhere, just like this person's talking about. And this is decades later, and they're still doing the same thing. So he goes, no, 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 we go right to the top. So he had me calling like CEOs and presidents of pretty big companies around the Minneapolis St. Paul area, and getting a meeting. And so what would happen is either one or two things. One is that I would call and they go, no, 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 don't talk to me. You need to talk to HR. I go, okay, so you want me to call HR? Yeah, I want you to call HR. So then I call HR and go, hey, upstairs sent me.
Mhm.
And yeah, Mr. Peterson suggested I give you a jingle. Yeah, I was talking to him about this stuff, and he go, and so now, or I go see Mr. Peterson at the top floor of the bank, downtown St. Paul, And they're going, yeah, but this all sounds good, but it's not what I do. Why don't you go talk to Mary in HR?
Mhm.
And so down I go, and I go, hey, I was just you know shooting the breeze with whatever CEO, and he suggested I talk to you about it. So now so there was no gatekeeper in that deal.
Mhm.
And so now you start at the top and let them direct you.
Mhm.
Not because most people call, they don't even know what the CEO's name is. They don't know anything. They're trying to, hey, who would I talk to about benefits?
Mhm.
You sound like everybody else.
Mhm.
And so when you start like everybody else off the bat, you look like everybody else, you get filtered out like everybody else. But if I get sent downstairs from HR from upstairs, okay, it's a little different. Oh, they look at you and treat you differently.
Mhm.
And so we get in.
Interesting.
That's that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep, driving around big yellow car, looking like pimps, getting it. Yeah, it was an interesting time. I ultimately decided I didn't like talking about cancer all day long, so I just didn't like the conversations. But that's how we did it. But I wouldn't do it like that today.
Yeah.
I would, I'd go the recommender route without a doubt, because then I could do it from
Hmm.
anywhere. I don't have to get in a big yellow car with some crazy old man bomber, And we would drive. He would pick me up. He'd pick me up, and so I jump in his car. The doors on those things are as wide as your desk, and they're heavy. The doors weigh like 900 pounds. You get in, and you're sitting way down, in these electric seats, which were a rarity back then. And he wouldn't stop, for like traffic. We'd ride up on the shoulder with this big yellow car, people honking, and he's like, you know he was old. He didn't care.
Oh wow,
Yep, Albert was his name.
Albert.
Albert.
That sounds like an adventure.
Yeah, it was an adventure. It was an adventure. That's for certain.
All right, here's another question that came in. This one's a little bit more ambiguous, a little less context. They say that when I had 10 clients, I could build deep personal relationships with each one. Now I have over 100, and I don't feel like I can possibly maintain the same level of connection with everybody. How do you go about trust and referrals at that level of scale when you can't personally know every single one of your clients?
Well, yeah, of course you can't. If you have 10 clients and you really want to know them that well, I guess I would wonder what kind of business it is. And I'm a customer of a lot of places. All right. So let's look at it from that perspective just for a moment. Let's switch the vantage point 180 degrees
Mhm.
from the client's perspective. I'm trying to think of somewhere where I'm a customer where I need that much hand holding.
Mhm.
Really, if I don't know what it would be. And there's attorneys, accountants, there's stuff to do with the state. There's real estate stuff. There's you know um, there are some things that you have to be attentive to, like rental real estate, for example. When we have some vacation rentals, and the first company that we started off with was a really big one, and really big, like one of the biggest in the probably the country. And even before we got any bookings at all, I canceled it because they were so terrible. Uh, and then the next one wasn't much better. The next one wasn't much better, and it was like, and the one that we had that we don't have now, but that we had most recently before the one we have now, went from having, I think it's like 350 units to 900, and they couldn't, and it wasn't a personal relationship.
Mhm.
It was just you can't you can't maintain that many people cleaning, and
Mhm.
so the quality went down, that sort of thing. But I'm trying to think of, so back to their question. When I had 10 clients, I can keep in contact with them. If you know what, if I'm one of your 10 contacts, this has to be really wildly valuable to me on a daily basis, and I don't even know what that would be
Mhm.
to have more than 10. It's got to be something, there's got to be some better system. So also, like in what I do, I want to have a lot of clients, and I want to have a great relationship with all of them, no matter how many there are. But I need I need time to be able to cultivate more clients. So, and maybe 100 is all you can cultivate. But here's what I do. Here's what I skip to the chase. Here's what I do. I don't want to spend every day with them. I want to, because I want to do other things, whether it's do nothing at all, watch cartoons, play with the kids,
Hmm.
go to France. Get more business. There are a million things I want to do rather than spend my time talking with them about whatever it is we're talking about. So what I'll do is I'll do my very best. I'll be a very good consultant. I'll get them exactly what the best thing that I know for them, and that matches what they say that they need now and where we talked about them wanting to go.
Hmm.
I will do my best, and then I will say one thing. I'll go, hey, and if there's anything that comes up, any questions whatsoever, there's a lot of things that I don't have access to. So your first call is to you know, Jeannie.
Hmm.
So call Jeannie with anything you have. If anything comes up that she can't handle, call me. Or if you just want to call me out of the blue, call me out of the blue.
Hmm.
You can always reach me. But some of the things that you're looking for, I won't. I'll have to get a hold of Jeannie. So you want to get a hold of her first, and then me. But always, you can always call me if you need me, and that frees me up. And these people almost never need me, and periodically I will contact them, like maybe once, depending on what I'm doing and what a relationship, the job I'm doing, are they if they're um, important to me, I'll either contact them once a month, once every 3 months, maybe once every 3 months. Let's say in what it is we do, 3 to 6, probably 3 to 6 months. Um, let's say for me it would be 6 months, or maybe I do it every year. I just don't get a hold of them that often. And if we're doing business together, the situation comes up where you're going to talk to them anyway, just because. But I will call everybody on their birthday,
Hmm.
and hope they don't answer because I just want to leave a
Yeah.
voicemail. They don't want to talk to me either. But when I go, hey, you know what? I see it's your birthday. Happy birthday, man. I'm always anything I can do. I'm always here for you. I hope you have a fantastic day. Click. And you can go through you can have a lot of clients
Hmm.
if all you're doing is contacting them on the birthday. So does that make sense?
That does.
So I would say, you don't try to. Yeah, I see this with salespeople. They want to sell and they want to customer serve. Don't, don't. Uh, if you want a lot of business, you, what, but you do the sales consultative part extremely well, and then do a very warm handoff to a competent person, letting the client know that they can always contact you should they want to, or should they don't get quite the answers they're looking for with Janie.
Hmm.
And that's how I do it. I do it, and it works extremely well.